Lucky on barefoot, lucky on barefoot and first, lucky on barefoot into late and first, lucky on barefoot. From last, a big win. Lucky on barefoot coming back. One with big horse.
Shona from ATB here. We're at Bendigo today and I've got trainer Matthew Williams with me. Welcome, Matthew.
Thanks, Shona.
Today we've got Claire Bow running around in race 8, but first of all I thought I would do a little mini interview with Matt so you can know a little bit more about him. Matthew, can you tell me, what was your path to becoming a trainer?
Fitter and turner. I actually done a fitter and turner apprenticeship in milking machines. Used to install dairies. But whilst doing this I was always riding track work, and before I started my apprenticeship I'd ridden track work at Warrnambool. And
who did you ride track work with?
Mainly Jocker Bailey, but Francis O'Rourke before Jocker started just within mucking out boxes and sort of
Did you have a pony growing up?
Yeah, done pony club, Warrnambool Pony Club, so done the whole eventing side of things and that, which was always really good. We used to love the jumping side of it mainly.
Yeah. Did you find the transition from pony to racehorses any different, riding them differently?
Yeah, probably the first one. I think first horse I rode on the track bolted 3 laps on me, so that hadn't
significantly different.
Hadn't happened at Pony Club, but yeah, no, it's certainly different. Just the technique. It's not a strength thing riding track work. It's certainly technique.
Yeah.
And yeah, once you have 12 months or so under your belt, you tend to get that sorted,
and
away you go.
They've got to get the hang of it fast, don't you?
Yeah.
What made you decide to be a horse trainer?
I guess it was always a bit of a burning ambition to be a horse trainer, and I think pretty much when I finished my apprenticeship, I thought I'd probably had enough of the milking machine side of it, but it was always good with having the welding experience and that. I thought, I'll go out to my uncle's farm and build 3 boxes out there, and I'll just muck around with 3 boxes and do a bit of part-time work somewhere or do something, and then it just grew. Basically, we just kept building on another box and building another box, and then you start building walkers and all sorts of things, and the horses kept coming. We used to do a lot of pre-training in the early days for Tony Noonan and Brian Mayfield Smith, Quinny Scott, so there was plenty of horses about, and it just kept growing. And then then you sort of want to apply your craft a bit more and go into training a bit more, and
get a bit more serious about it.
Yeah. Darren came along then, and just sort of kept growing from there.
Yeah. Good. What's been your career highlight?
Well, we train at Warrnambool. Our stables are actually situated at Warrnambool, so certainly with Oxurius winning the Warrnambool, that was a great thrill. Flying Tessie on Melbourne Cup Day was a big thrill to win a race on Cup Day.
Yeah.
But just training winners in general is just a thrill.
Yeah, I always say if you own a horse and it's competitive at any racetrack and it wins at any racetrack, it's just a thrill.
That's a highlight. Yeah, it certainly is.
It doesn't matter whether you're at city or country, a win's a win.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, so. What is your favourite horse that you've trained, and not necessarily the most talented, and why?
Oxurius was certainly probably the favourite. Don't know that he ever went to the races 100% sound, but he would just give you 110%. He was always had little issues, and that we were always on the verge of scratching him before a race and whatever, and then we could just get him right and he'd go, and he'd always run really well, and he was just such an honest, tough horse, so he would certainly be a favourite. But Flying Tessie, I suppose, with being a stakes placed horse and that, she was certainly high up there as well.
Yeah. So you've got horses of ATBs in training, and how do you find ATB to work with?
Oh, terrific. Darren's been with us for many years now, so we sort of know how he thinks a bit. He knows how we train, how we sort of do things. So I think we just combine them, well together, and it all seems to work pretty well. I think hard to keep everyone happy all the time, but I think we do keep the majority of people happy, and they tend to come back and race more horses with us, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, great. So now we're going to talk about last week's runners, and first up we're going to talk about Dandino's performance. How do you think Dandino went, Matt?
I happened to catch flicking it over to TV and seen the replay of Dandino's run. He certainly kept grinding away well. Probably just didn't show that same turn of foot that he did on Melbourne Cup Day, but Yeah, I'm not going to question Marco's certainly done a terrific job and he's great with those stayers, so I'm sure he'll have something mapped out and he won't be far away from the winner circuit.
And all going well, he's going to be heading to another Group 2 on July 10 at Newmarket in the Princess of Wales Stakes, so keep a look out for that one. We had L'Espresso go around at Eagle Farm. She raced pretty poorly. She didn't handle the reverse way of going, so she's come home. She's going to have a mini freshen up and then she'll be put back into work. We had a Basto. He ran around at Royal Randwick. He finished 4th, beaten by 3/4 of a length. It was another good run by him, and the field just allowed the leader to get out too far, and by the time he tried to reel her back in, she'd just gone, and it was a good effort to come 4th by 3/4 of a length. Then we went to Horsham, where we had a average day where we thought we'd get more winners. We had Hippodrome go around. He come 3rd. He travelled well throughout, but I just felt that the jockey went too early on him, and when he had to go for home, he just had nothing left in the tank and was beaten just. We had Strattatini go at Horsham. Again, he raced a good race. He comes 2nd. He relaxed well throughout the running, and he did take the lead, but he threw the race in and faded at the line, so I'm sure a win won't be too far away with him, and I think he'll be running again at Warrnambool this coming Sunday.
Hopefully he can handle a very wet track.
Yeah, well, I think he was suspect on it last start down at Warrnambool, but anyway.
It'll be a genuine heavy tank ground.
Yeah. So stay tuned to our runners and results page, and you'll get all the current information on who's running and who's not. We also had Stylish Lily go around at Horsham. She come 9th. On a leader's bias track, she was dragged back far too far in the field, and then going from home, she had far too much ground to make up, and it was always going to end in a bad way. The next one you might be able to tell me about was Lucky on Barefoot at Cranbourne on Sunday.
I can help there. That
was a winner.
Was great to get a win in, I think it was Heat 5 of the Winter Championship Series, so he's now qualified for the final if we opt to go that way. We've got a few options with him with another heat coming up at Cranbourne next Thursday, and then we've got Caulfield Saturday week, which is a track that he likes. Possibly may go that way. He's just got a little bit of a watching his form at Flemington. Probably circumstances on all occasions why his form doesn't read well there, but he actually hasn't run a good race there, so we'll just see how he does over the next week or two and decide which way he goes there. But
and he was ridden by an unknown jockey called Michael Rodd. I don't think Darren Dance had heard of Michael Rodd.
No, he hasn't. No, it's a new one I've brought to him. But look,
he did well. He's 1 for 1.
He's a great rider. He's a great fella. And although it wasn't probably our plan A when he went out there, but we wanted to ride him a little bit closer, try and get in midfield, but he just couldn't get in from the wide gate. So
I think Michael said that he felt your hands around his neck coming into the straight when he was in the last position.
Yeah, well, I was certainly thinking, oh, this isn't going to go well here, but he probably got back to what he, a couple of years ago when he 18 months ago when he would settle back like that, and he'd really rattle home, and he certainly showed that again on Sunday. He really hit the line.
He went really well. Yeah, it was good. And then on Wednesday, which was yesterday, we had Benindi race at Canterbury Park. She come 4th, and she was beaten by 1 3/4 lengths. She ran a good race. Chris Waller thinks that her next maiden start hopefully we'll get a win out of her. Her performance has improved. Her health is good after a little cardio arrhythmia episode she had. So stay tuned for that one. So this week's runners, today we're at Bendigo and we just had Arizona Girl race. She ran brilliantly. It's her 2nd start. She comes 2nd. She made up a lot of ground in the straight. She laid in a little bit. She's got a lot to learn. It'll be exciting to see how she goes.
Looks like she'll get further too, just watching that race. So,
for sure.
Future
the high
for her.
sharps get over a fair bit of ground, so I think it was only 1600 today, so it'll be good to see her over some more ground. In the next race we've got Clairvaux.
He's only a little bit of a watches. He doesn't like travelling away from home too often. If you read through his form, he races very well at Warrnambool when we take him away. That hasn't been as good. Okay,
and also we've got a horse on Friday running around at Singapore called Lucky Lion, and you've got a little bit of an interest in this horse, Matt.
Yeah, we've done all the early work with him and trialled him up, and we were in the ownership of him and kept a little interest. myself and a mate of mine, Doug Ben Ray. So his run the other day was terrific. He hadn't been going too well the previous couple of starts, and we were probably on the verge of
sacking him.
Sale time. We'll move on.
Yep.
But
he ran a super race.
Yeah,
Stephen
sorted out a few issues with him, and he obviously was ducking and weaving coming up the straight the other day. But if he can get a decent run, he'll certainly be in the mix.
Yeah. On the Saturday, we've got a Basto running at Rose Hill. Once again, he'll no doubt try his little heart out. Ty Anglin on board, and we'll be looking for him to finish in the top 3. Well, I'm back, and it's just me while Maddie goes down and saddles up Clairvaux. Magnus Bay will be running around at Fanny Bay in the Northern Territory. She's drawn barrier 2 in race 5 over 1,200 metres. Although she hasn't performed well at this distance, ideally Jason would like to see her running at 1,100, but there's no races coming around at that distance this week, so he's going to try her over the 1,200 and see how she goes. And on Monday we've got a few runners running around. We've got supplements in race 3. She's the first starter, barrier 5 with Dean Yendall on board. We've also got Imaging running around in the same race out of barrier 1 with John Allen. So stay tuned on that one. That was my one to follow a few weeks ago. Sorry Morgs, I had to mention it in case he gets up. We've got Refill running around with Dean Yendall on board. That horse was a winner in its last start, so no doubt with the Weir factor as well as being a last start winner, it will be very short odds. We've got Grand Arrow in race 4. This horse come 3rd in its last start at Mildura, so no doubt another short odds horse. We've still got half of that one's brother remaining by Time Thief, so if you're interested in getting involved with ATB and racing a horse this season or this coming season, email me and I can send you out some information on that horse. We've also got Listo Gaetano running around in Mildura again. That's the runners for this week. Good luck on the punt, and I'll see you next week. That's if I haven't been booted out by Darren and Brian. After getting home from Bendigo last night and waking up this morning, I have emails from the UK about Seismos and Collini. Collini's going to be running this weekend at Windsor on the Saturday the 28th, and he's drawn barrier 10 of 11. And also an update on Seismos is that he's been nominated for a Group 1 at Longchamp on July 13. Also, just through the nominations for Wednesday at Sandown, we've got Edge of War, Mumbai and Stratini running, so stay tuned for those ones. Although Stratini has accepted for Warrnambool on Sunday, there's a possible chance that he could be scratched. So stay tuned for that one and head to the website for all the information. I'm Shona Drechsler, and this is ATB-TV done and dusted for another week.
Suros was starting to get a legalised split and coming through it. Lucky on barefoot and short. Lucky on barefoot into late.